In April 2018, I wrote an article on the hypocrisy of Asian women who talk about yellow fever and their alleged objectification. This article takes an in-depth look at the preferences of Asian women who claim they have been objectified by white men and shows that it is not white men who have yellow fever, but in fact it is Asian women who have white fever. This article also takes a look at how Asian women who are with white men romantically objectify themselves in the media, proving that Asian women in fact play into their own objectification. If you have a couple of minutes to read it and give it a clap, I'd really appreciate it.
Granddad never mentioned that there were men as dark as this. Wow, look at that nose. He's just like a pig. He's a monster! Hi.
So normally I interview people on the dating preferences of Asian women, and this video is going to do that, but it's going to be a little bit different. Let me explain. In an attempt to get my views on Asian women to a bigger audience, I reached out to a man named Nathaniel Coy. I had heard through some people that he was discussing the dating preferences of Asian women on his YouTube channel, Ask Nathaniel, so I thought that he would be a good person to talk to. I sent him an email on June 29th of 2016, suggesting that we do a collaboration on his channel via Skype. He responded saying that he was interested, but that he didn't know how to do an interview on Skype. I told him how to record a Skype conversation, but he didn't respond. That should have been a red flag for me, but since he had showed interest, I decided to reach out again. He responded, but he asked me what the next steps were to do this collaboration. I asked him how he planned to record the conversation. He emails me on July 9th telling me that he's wanting to do the collaboration today over Skype, but he doesn't explain how he plans to record the collaboration. He just gives me his number to contact him. I give him my Skype address. He tells me that he's going to load the Skype app on his phone. Again, the red flags were flying here, but I was desperate to get my message on a bigger platform, and since Ask Nathaniel has a substantial amount of subscribers, I was willing to put up with his incompetence. And boy was he incompetent. When I called him on Skype on the afternoon of July 9th, he said that he wasn't ready, so I had to guide him once again on how to do the collaboration. When it was clear that he didn't know what the hell to do, I told him that during the interview he should record himself talking and that I would record myself. After the interview was over, I would send him my footage so he could show my face and give me credit for the collaboration on his channel. After taking nearly an hour to set up his camera and explaining to him how this collaboration would be done over Skype, we finally started recording. The collaboration, as you'll see in a moment, was a pain in the ass. We disagreed on the dating preferences of Asian women, but that wasn't really what bothered me. What bothered me was that, after dealing with his incompetence for nearly an hour, he had the nerve to be arrogant about his opinions while treating me as if I didn't know what I was talking about. He was so full of himself that roughly halfway into the video, he starts talking about irrelevant things such as Beyonce and God. What these things have to do with Asian women is beyond me. He was all over the place, but he thought that he was nailing it because, again, he was full of himself. It got to the point where he would just be talking to himself for minutes on end, and I would just be sitting there waiting for him to shut the fuck up. But again, I dealt with all this in the hopes of gaining more exposure. Finally, after recording for roughly an hour, I told him that I had to go, and he suggested that we should go out and do an on-the-street interview to figure out why Asian women won't talk to us, even though they're clearly into us, black men, that is, and Hispanic men. Again, he was so confident in his opinion that he couldn't imagine interviewing an Asian woman who would say that they weren't interested in black men. As you'll see, he assumes that Asian women are interested in black men by default. I reluctantly agreed for the sake of gaining more exposure, and we ended the interview. You'll see that at the end of the interview, he mentions that he has some recording problems, but I didn't think much of it at the time. Shortly after the collaboration, I sent him my footage via Dropbox so he could use it to put me in the video that he would eventually upload on his channel. I didn't hear from him for a couple of days, so I checked out his channel to see if he had uploaded any videos. What I found was this, a video that was only a part of our discussion. He didn't use the footage that I sent him, and he didn't credit me for the collaboration. I immediately called him with the number that he gave me and demanded an explanation. He tells me that the video that he put up is a behind-the-scenes look on the collaboration that we did. I didn't buy it because he didn't mention that he planned to do a behind-the-scenes look, and even if he did, he should have still credited me and used the footage that I sent him. I told him not to contact me again and hung up. Still frustrated, I commented on his video, and this was his response. You should note that he changed the original title of this video. As you can see on the photo on the right, the original video title was called Asian women want black cock. Stay classy, Nathaniel. At first it didn't bother me and I just let it go, but when I saw that he posted another clip from our collaboration, I tried to get the videos pulled. I flagged the videos on YouTube, but YouTube didn't do anything. At this point, there were 3 videos. I replied to people's comments on Nathaniel's 3 clips from our collaboration, but nobody did anything. I even called Nathaniel, but he acted like he didn't know who I was and hung up on me. I thought of pursuing legal action, but I figured it wasn't worth it. Last year, however, I saw that one of Nathaniel's videos from our collaboration was on a channel called Guy on Girl TV. I explained the situation to the owner of that channel and he allowed me to create a rebuttal video. Still, I wasn't satisfied though. I wanted to get back at Nathaniel for what he did and how he treated me. So I'm dedicating this episode to showing my story. I'm using the footage that I recorded of myself for the collaboration that Nathaniel didn't use, and I'm matching it with Nathaniel's videos to show that we in fact collaborated. I'll also bring my talking points to show that Nathaniel is not only wrong in his beliefs, but is an overall jackass. This video is going to be incredibly long and the audio may not be completely synced, so it may be hard to understand sometimes, but I put some timestamps in the description in case you want to skip to the most important parts of this collaboration. If you're watching this and you like my work, I hope that you'll show this video to Nathaniel and his fan base so he can be exposed as a snake that he is. Also note that when this video starts, he's going to cut off my name in the beginning of his video. Nathaniel knew what he was doing. He had no intention of giving me credit because he disagreed with my beliefs about Asian women. According to his channel, he collaborated with a guy named Michael Choppy Rodriguez. My name is Raphael, by the way. But in any case, I hope you enjoyed this thorough takedown of the moron that is Nathaniel Coy.
Alright, Raphael.
Alright.
Yeah, so we rolling. I mean, it's been a big question of, races and, as far as the Asian community that is. Which is so ironic because the question's been a thing that's always troublesome to people. And I really, you'd be surprised of how I compare this and where I came up with these comparisons of knowing that Asians, date, outside their race, black men, European men, all the above. It's like a big thing. It's just, but I don't think a lot of men of color, whether that's black or Hispanic, realize how much it's how much it's in style, how much it's a demand. They don't realize it, and I think the fact that they don't realize is that at the end of the day, if I walk through Chinatown in Brooklyn, I'm usually out there and I'm the only black person walking the blocks for like at least an hour. Like I don't see anybody out there. So with that being said, what is the solution on actually making this connection work? And the solution, believe it or not, is men of color need to start approaching these Asian women in their communities, preferably Chinatown. I'm just speaking in terms of somewhere that's more like commercialized, because you'll be surprised at the response. Like, you'll be surprised at what's in their headphones. You can tell a lot about a person from the music they listen to, what's in their headphones. And if that's what it's in their headphones, you'll be surprised at what they're into. But how can we make this connection work? Asian women love black men. Asian women love Latino men. Asian women love European men. A lot more than you can imagine. What do you feel about that?
These first couple minutes are crucial because this shows why it was so hard to have a discussion with Nathaniel on this topic. He's working backwards from his conclusion. In his mind, he already believes that Asian women love black men, and he assumes that the problem is us. But he doesn't provide any facts or statistics to prove his point. He simply says that there are no blacks in Chinatown, but there's a demand for black men. First off, I wouldn't expect too many black people to be in Chinatown because, it's Chinatown. But second, how does any of this prove his point? The problem is that black men aren't in Chinatown picking up Asian women, but he hasn't said anything so far to prove that there is a demand for black men from Asian women. He just assumes that the demand is there, and he's not willing to be convinced that this isn't the case. So even when I try to explain why he may be wrong later in this video, he's going to automatically disregard what I say and continue to frame this issue as black men not stepping their game up. I have no idea why he's so convinced that he's right, and honestly I don't care, because as you'll see, this guy was a pain in the ass to talk to. However, if there's one thing you should take away from this particular segment,
It's that he's not trying to prove that he's right about Asian women with facts and statistics. He's already assumed that he's right, and he's providing advice for black men on how to get Asian women because he thinks that Asian women want black men.
My feeling is that I do disagree a bit. I feel as though Asian women like Asian men and white men, and that's it. Not to say that no Asian women like black or Hispanic men.
Right.
But they certainly prefer Asian and white men, and I can get into that later. But to answer your direct question as to what to do to change that, or like to get that connection, well, I would say the first thing that needs to be done overall is for the Asians to be somewhat more open, because it is intimidating to know that like every single time you might see an Asian woman, they're surrounded by 5 other Asian women who all like have Asian boyfriends. Like you have the mindset that it's very, you know, the culture is very within itself. So I think that it's, for me, you know, it's very intimidating to go up to an Asian woman knowing that they have that mindset or they're looking that way. So on their end, I think looking as though you're more open by at least venturing outside your own culture is what they can do to at least look like they're interested in non-Asian and white men. As to what we can do, you know, that's hard for me to say, because for me, I feel like I've done quite a lot, but and it hasn't gotten anywhere. But I guess take into account where you're going to find them, you know, 8 more Asian people. Like for example, I've met a bunch of Asian people at college. You know, if you go to school, depending on what school you're at, you might run into a lot of Asian people. So there's that. It's just knowing and being conscious of where they are. Because unfortunately we live in a society where, you know, certain races stick in certain areas more than others. So, you know, you're not going to find too many Asians in Brownsville. Having that kind of mindset can help you, I guess, find more Asian women. But it's a lot more complicated than that, honestly, I think. Or at least I think, yeah.
But I want to tell you something. You know, there's a few things, you know. And first, let me reiterate the fact that you said about there's not a lot of Asians in Brownsville. They're in Brownsville.
This was the demographic makeup of Brownsville according to a 2015 Community Health Profile. There were virtually no Asians in Brownsville as of 2015. Asians don't live in Brownsville. You may also be wondering why I'm discussing how to approach Asian women if you're black or Hispanic. Why address this issue on Nathaniel's terms if you know that he's wrong? While in hindsight I do think I made a mistake by answering his question, my goal at this point was to pay lip service to his worldview. I knew that he would never agree with me on this issue if I tried to disprove him head on, but I thought at this point I could perhaps try to get him to see reality if I expressed my views on his terms. In other words, I was trying to give him the, okay, some Asian women aren't like that, but can you see that the majority don't really like black men? It didn't work, and honestly it was a big mistake on my end to believe that it would, because again, he came in convinced that he was right, and he wasn't willing to have his worldview changed.
Whether they're working in the Chinese groceries or the Chinese restaurants, they are there. And they, you know, one thing about Asian culture is that they know when it comes to black and Hispanic culture in rural areas in Brownsville and Brooklyn, that's a gold mine. So they're there. Even if they're there patronizing or to be patronized, they're there. The thing is that this is what happens. You know, you there? The thing is that this is what happens. Did I lose you?
Yep.
Okay, you go. This is what it is, and this is, and if you watch my channel, you know how I am. Number one question is, do you watch porn?
Every guy does.
Okay, beautiful. All right.
So during this collaboration, he would continue to get knocked out of the call on Skype, and like an idiot, I would call him back instead of just ending the interview. But anyways, he's going to go into porn now. As a heads up, he's going to basically say that since Asian women are in porn and are having sex with black men in porn, that means Asian women want black men. If you can't see why that's a stupid argument, I'll explain later, but for now, just notice how focused Nathaniel is on porn. Somehow, some way, he's going to bring this conversation back to porn several times in this collaboration. The guy is obsessed with porn.
Porn is probably the most, when it comes to solidifying what women are into, only thing you have to watch is watch what people are into. In other words, if you punch in Asian woman, the majority of the Asian women are usually with men of color. Very seldom that they're in, we're not talking about the Asian porn that's made in Asia where they're facing their faces out, where they're with their own. But when it comes to scoring touchdowns and really hitting home runs on a sexual level, and the porn to be exciting, they have to be with a black man. So, and this is not to even, you know, to discredit a Hispanic man. You're Hispanic, you're of the black race, so it's the same thing. Whole point is what I'm saying is that if you look at the things that people are into, the fetishes, there's a reason why you look at the views and there's 40 million views as opposed to 500 views. You know, Asian porn is huge because a lot of people don't realize on the back end, whether you have to go to the countries or you go to Thailand, that when that black man walks into a brothel, let's just say, they know it's a done deal. Like, they know at the end of the day that they gotta come correct because it's more likely that this guy is packing.
If Asian women want big dicks, and black men are stereotypically known to have big dicks, why do Asian women hold up signs saying that they want white men because they think that white men have big dicks? Also, you're talking about porn, an industry where people have sex for the pleasure of the audience, and you're saying that this proves that Asian women want black men? How about we take a look at the OkCupid study that shows the racial preferences of different people online? Doesn't seem like Asian women are into black and Hispanic men on OkCupid. How about a study that was done on the dating app Are You Interested? Seems like Asian women want white men and they don't want black men. I don't know where you're getting your numbers about Asian porn or Asian female black male porn being in demand, but just because an industry such as porn may or may not have a high demand for black men having sex with Asian women, that doesn't mean that Asian women are seeking black men as romantic partners. Grey's Anatomy had a black male Asian female relationship in it, and guess what? Sandra Oh, the Asian woman in that TV relationship, dates white men.
The problem is that the rejection factor, and people are so concerned and worried about the rejection factor, it causes them to have amnesia of some sort, to watch this, to be in the Asian community and don't even say hello to a woman. I walked into an eyeglass place recently in Chinatown, and first thing when the girl looked up at me, and I'm 6'5", I'm a tall black man, but the first thing was, oh my gosh, and even the ones that didn't speak English, their mentality is not looking at my height to play ball, they're looking at my height in a sexual level, period. This is, and what it is that so many men don't even realize, especially men of color, that there's so much in demand that the Asians only could go for the European guys because the European guys are the ones approaching them. We are less likely to go to a Chinese restaurant and really try to have a date with the girl or the grocery store or you know, anything that happens to be in our urban neighborhoods, to actually approach this girl to say one day she'll go on a date with me before she goes to her upstate home.
Here is a clip from the web series of Also Beautiful, which was produced by Debbie Lum, a woman who wanted to look into the issue of yellow fever with her documentary, Seeking Asian Female.
Like, my parents were never like, oh, don't date this, that, or the other, but they did say, you know, think about your choices, and if you do marry someone who isn't white or isn't Asian, you may be, you know, think about your children, you know, that they will be part black, you know, using the example of a black partner.
I'm attracted to Asian women, they're not attracted to me. The ads from Asian women online are almost all looking for white guys, even over Asian guys. Because, I mean, I see in their ads, white guy. Only. Whites only.
There is far more evidence to show that Asian women want white men than there is showing that Asian women want black men. Again, I don't understand how Nathaniel is reaching his conclusions about what the issue is and what can be done. Now he's saying that white men are more likely to approach Asian women than black men? How does he know this? How does he know that the reason why white men date Asian women is because white men approach Asian women more often than black men? How does he even know that approaching Asian women would work as a black man? Tyrell Shaw, a black man, tried to approach Asian women and he failed miserably. He wrongfully turned to violence and started assaulting Asian women because he was sick of seeing Asian women choose white guys over him, and he eventually killed himself in the summer of 2015. Did Asian women talk about how they wanted to be approached by black men then? No. They made it an issue of Shaw feeling entitled to Asian women, and they said that he was objectifying Asian women. Now, I'm not saying that assaulting anyone is okay, but if a black man takes his life because he can't get an Asian woman to talk to him, and Asian women aren't showing any signs that they want to date black men, why is it a black man's fault for thinking that Asian women don't want him?
And she will. You just gotta approach her. You know, what I would love to do is to go out to Chinatown in Brooklyn, me and you with camera, with my camera guy, and we'll sit on the corner and just actually take a poll, and we'll show you. If we could ask women, who's your favorite rapper? You'd be surprised at how many of these women are actually, you know, intrigued and love black and Hispanic men. But, you know, in the porn industry, you see that it's more publicized because that's more of the situation that's happening behind the scenes. You see, when you see that Asian girl that's walking into the store, or you see her walking the street, and you say hello, and she may not say anything back. But now you're done. Like, oh, I never talked to an Asian woman. They never say anything back. But it's like you have to be somewhat semi-aggressive to be like, hey, hold on one second. Hello, my name is such and such. You know, you'd be surprised. Even if she doesn't speak English, she's intimidated by you per se as well.
I mean, we don't have to do a poll, Nathaniel. Here's a poll right here. None of the Asian girls in this poll said that they preferred black men. And again, with the porn reference. I feel like if you got him into a corner about any of his stupid views, his fallback would always be porn. Why do Asian women go for white men even though they have sex with black men on camera? Porn. Why do Asian women turn down black men who approach them but date white men who don't approach them? Porn. Why did sites like Craigslist have tons of Asian women specifically asking for white and Asian men? Porn. How can you have a discussion with someone who believes that porn proves his point automatically, even when it clearly doesn't? And again, Nathaniel, how do you know that any of your strategies would work? Your point might be more convincing if you were able to show several examples of black male, Asian female couples that got together because the black man asserted himself, but you don't have any. You're just saying that this will work with no evidence. If you had any evidence to prove your point, you wouldn't feel the need to go to Chinatown and ask Asian women what they were into because you already know and would be able to show people like me how I'm wrong. But you can't since you don't have any substantial evidence. Instead, you want to prove your point by getting evidence from Asian women who may or may not agree with you. That is called working backwards from your conclusion. Now, the next segment, I'm going to go a bit off track and talk about feminism. Like I mentioned earlier, I didn't feel as though Nathaniel would be willing to listen to the fact that Asian women simply don't want black men, so I thought that bringing up my views in a different way would be more effective. That way being explaining to Nathaniel that men aren't obligated to approach women in any way. That view, though, like every other view that I had brought up to this point, went through one ear and out the other.
And that's what people don't realize.
Okay, well, I have different views on that. First off, I want to say that, and this is regardless of race.
Right.
You know, there is way too much pressure on a guy to initiate. We live in a world of feminism where women want to be considered equal in every aspect of life without the responsibilities of equality. Right. Well, one of those aspects is in dating. It's nobody's role to initiate anything. If somebody is interested, they should be going after that person regardless of gender. If you're a lesbian and you're both women, what are you going to do? Just sit and not do anything? One of them has to initiate something, and it's not a male trait to pursue. If you're an Asian female and you see a black or Hispanic guy that you're interested in, you approach them. You know, it's about time that women in general start to, you know, take responsibility for being equal, and that's one of those responsibilities. So, you know, yes, we need to be more aggressive if we're interested in a girl, Asian or not. But that the shoe is on the other, not the shoe is on the other foot.
Right.
It goes both ways.
Right.
You know. But if you're talking about a more conservative Asian, that's less likely to happen. And I understand that. We know this. But if you're Americanized and you're like, oh, I'm a feminist, blah, 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 go ahead and approach a guy in a bar and get rejected and see what that's like. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's my view on that.
That's a good view. I mean, that is an issue, and this is, again, you know, there's two things I always said that a man is born with. There's something that's not common. Common sense is not common.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah.
So the fact that a man, as a man, there's two things that a man is, you know, not most men are born with, and that's the ideology, you know, of making money and having lots of money, or learning how to pick up a woman. You know, a lot of guys don't know the art of literally, like, I want to go out tonight without going to a club, and I'm going to go into the streets of 34th Street, pull me a girl, and I'll bet you I have sex with her by Monday. Like, a lot of guys couldn't even fathom that unless they're celebrities. So the thing is that women, the fact that women are creatures that they are less likely to go and approach a guy. Like, most girls that approach guys, a common guy, usually is a girl that, A, probably not the most attractive, and B, she's probably, you know, working. She's probably knowing that you look like money, and she's trying to make some things work. But at the end of the day, your average good-looking girl, I don't care what race she is, she's just not going to do that. Yeah. And the fact that she's not going to do that is giving us the upper hand, because if you practice meeting women to the point of it's as easy as walking, putting your next foot up, it comes like it's nothing. In other words, a woman doesn't even have to approach a man, because women outnumber us. So it is our duty to only take advantage of living in this big, beautiful candy store called the United States, where the average guy now has a girlfriend, maybe married, maybe shy, maybe scared, maybe in jail, or may even be gay. So they don't have easy pickings. So they only could go to what's presented to them. That's why when you see a girl, a real nice looking girl, she's with this guy, you're like, what is she doing with that? That was the guy that probably approached her knowing that she was coming out of Columbia College with her degree right on her forehead and made her laugh, even though he don't have a pot to piss in. But the other guy that went to the same school that probably has more honors than she does is too damn scared. So he has to literally go to Thailand to go meet a girl. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, yes, he has to go buy a girl for 10 girls, because in America he's scared to death, and the fact that being Americanized has a lot to do with men that do not approach women. Men, I'll give an example. When is the last time you approached a woman, got the number, scored, and had sex with her?
Been a while.
You see what I'm saying? Now, if you were around me, that would change drastically. Because what it is that...
Notice the eye roll on my end. You try to make a point, he goes back to his talking points and tries to tell you that you're messing up with women. He thinks that he knows everything. And by the way, if he had any intention of actually giving me credit for this collaboration, that might have gone away if he saw me rolling my eyeballs at this point. But considering that he got up and walked away when I started disagreeing with him in the beginning of the video, I don't really care if he was offended by me rolling my eyeballs here. Fuck him.
This is a mecca, and we live in New York City. If you can't do it here, and if somebody has to pathetically go out of the country and resort to prostitution, that is basically taking advantage. When taking advantage of the poor, when you could come here and take advantage of the fortunate, when you don't have to fly on a plane, you're in your backyard, you can go to Queens, New York, to Flushing, where there's a huge Asian population out there. You know, in order for these women to be exposed, they have to be attended to and have to be addressed. How do you think these women get into the porn industry? And I'm not to say that all Asian women are porn, I'm just speaking in terms of the porno industry. That took a man to bluntly say, hey, here's an ad, we're going to put up an ad, we're going to do a production, we're going to run a budget. And how is it that they're having an overwhelming response of girls going to auditions, filming in front of a camera and having pornographic, hardcore sex? So if that's not enough for men to live in the dream world, which you shouldn't be living in the dream world because it is fantasy to watch a porn, the reality is that everybody in my mind state is these are regular women. You would never know the difference on the street because she got tattoos and she got more makeup on her eyes to slant it. Doesn't mean that she has to be up a porno queen or you have to go to strip club. You can meet this same girl and you'll be surprised like any other human being, especially a woman. If you lick and bite her neck, she's gonna get hot.
You thought I was joking about the porn references, right? I really don't understand how he continues to find a way to bring porn back into this, but let's just go with it. Notice Nathaniel's choice of words here. He thinks that going out to another country to get a woman is taking advantage of the poor, which is bad, but he thinks that it's better to find a woman where you live, which would be taking advantage of the rich or the more fortunate. Then he talks about how Asian women are in the porn industry and it took a man to convince Asian women to get into porn as an example of how a man can sway a woman into doing what he wants. Okay, you see this? These are articles where Asian women discuss how they have been objectified and over-sexualized. Now, I don't necessarily sympathize with Asian women on this issue because I think that they somewhat consciously play into their own objectification for the sake of pleasing white men. But regardless, on a surface level, it's very obvious that Asian women don't want to be thought of as sexual objects. So Nathaniel's argument of, well, men in the porn industry seduce Asian women to get into porn, so why can't you seduce an Asian woman to get in your bed, is not only a stupid comparison, but it's a great example of how not to approach and view Asian women. If Nathaniel knew anything about Asian women, he wouldn't be using men in porn convincing Asian women to have sex on camera as an example to prove his point. He would know that any man who comes off as someone who views Asian women as a sexual object will be dismissed by most Asian women without a second thought. Also, he keeps bashing men for going overseas to find a mate. First off, if a man wants to go overseas to find someone because he's not having any luck here, that's his business. Hell, if a woman wants to do the same thing, that's her business. What gives Nathaniel the right to judge someone who wants to find love in another country? But second, if you're a white man and you see signs like this which show that women in Asia want white men, you see that Asians worship white skin and round their eyes to look more American, why wouldn't you want to go after Asian women in Asian countries if you're a white man? Look at these guys from 90 Day Fiancé. This white guy scored a beautiful Filipino woman. This guy scored a Filipino woman as well, even though he worked at McDonald's back in America. This guy was in his 40s, fat, balding, and divorced, and he scored a Thai woman in her 20s. Do you think that these white men would have been able to get a woman who was young and/or attractive back home? Probably not. So they went overseas and they scored in countries where the color of their skin gave them more value. They got Asian women who, if they lived in America, wouldn't give these men the time of day. And again, Nathaniel, what's the common denominator in all these relationships? The guy is white. Not black. White.
They're out there, bro. It's just they're not being approached. And
that's a nice way to look at it. That's an optimistic way to look at it. I do not agree with that.
Right.
And here's why. I'll give you like from the perspective of somebody who is a man of color.
Right.
And we're going back to the Asians here. I'm not talking about girls in general because that's feminism and approaching women is a whole different topic. When it comes to Asian women, and there's different types. So these categories aren't even, solid. But I'll put them into 3 different types. There are the Asians that either use their parents' excuse of wanting to stay within their own as to why they don't date, or are just racist and don't want to date anybody that isn't Asian. And then there's category 2 of people that would be open to it and would think about it, but they aren't they just so happen to date everybody that's Asian or white. So actually there's just 2 categories. There's the ones that want to and the ones that don't. Or the ones that don't. When you take those 2 categories into play, right? Let's forget the racist ones. Now, you're born into a conservative, let's say you're technically a somewhat conservative Asian family compared to a black guy who's raised in let's say a low income family. And again, this is stereotyping, but let's put this into play. As an Asian female, you're going to be more than likely pushed to succeed by people that either have more money, or people that have some drive to do something better in their life. And that same thing could be with the black family, but if you're in a low income neighborhood, you have a lesser chance to get where you want to be. You know what I mean? It's gonna be harder to get into a better school, therefore get a better job or whatnot. The Asian community is gonna have, depending on their circumstances, a better chance to get there. So let's say they study and they get into the school that they want. Most likely the better schools, unfortunately, have a huge Asian and white population. compared to the black person who didn't have as much, or Latino person who didn't have as much opportunity, is going to end up, you know, probably in a college where it isn't as good or not in college at all. Right. So these two people, one of them's graduated from Princeton, and the other person just, you know, finished high school and then just went to work, right? Now, this Princeton person is working at Google and has only seen Asian and white people, so they might not be racist, but, you know, it's just what they're surrounded by, and that's who they date. How are you going to tell me that that person, who may be the nicest person in the world, who went to...
Nathaniel cut the video here in the middle of my sentence. Why? Because he's a dick. Here's what I said after his video cut off.
Princeton and is working at Google is going to be messing with a guy who's Latino or black, who they may have a connection with, but is making a lot less money, doesn't have as much of an opportunity to get anywhere in life, and just doesn't really have anything to offer. That's the situation that a lot of black and Hispanic males find themselves in because of social stigmas, because of race barriers, and they just, although they may be charismatic, they may be very attractive or whatever, they cannot support as well as an Asian or a white male can. Therefore, even if this Asian person will be into that, they're going to be into, they want to date somebody that is at the same career level as them. Therefore, they don't really have a shot. That's what a lot of black and Hispanic men have to face.
Say something. First and foremost, this is what you got to realize. You're in America. So all that stuff you're talking about is like 20, 30 years ago.
It's
listen, a guy could leave high school and be making $15,000 a month posting YouTube videos and make more money than somebody that went to more of your Ivy League schools. So that doesn't apply. Number two, you got to think about gay marriages. Gay marriages are getting married in record numbers. So you have a community of Oriental men that are not marrying their woman. You have Oriental men that are subjecting themselves to, hey, the traditions are out the window. So all those things you're talking about probably meant something in 1985, but those stats don't mean anything right now, because at the end of the day, you are a profession when you're making money doing what you do in extreme numbers. If a guy comes out of high school and he was raised in Brownsville, Brooklyn, and the Asian girl came from Japan and she's got herself set up here, she's going to the best schools, she's going to end up with an Asian man, they're going to have kids. At the end of the day, you know, traditionally that's how it was, but we're living in a whole different world right now. First and foremost, who's to even know if the man that she's with is even into women? See, all those things now, you have to think of the motive. Let's just use yourself as an example. If you're into Oriental women, correct?
Yeah.
This is about 20 minutes in. 20 minutes of listening to Nathaniel's bullshit talking points. You can tell by my voice that I'm getting sick of it. But let's address his belief that Asian women have changed their dating preferences over time. The study on the left was published in 1997, and it concluded that Asian Americans as a whole most often dated Asians or whites and rarely dated African Americans. It also found that Asian American women most often dated white men, and Asian American men most often dated women from other Asian groups. Asian American women reported a preference for dating and marrying their own Asian group, followed by whites, other Asians, Latinos, and Africans. The study on the right was published in 2013. It concluded that Asian women were most likely to respond to white men online, followed by Asian men. They were least likely to respond to black and Hispanic men. Asian women were most likely to message Asian men first, followed by white men. They were least likely to message Hispanic and black men. The study also found that Asian women prefer white men, not the other way around. Nothing has changed, Nathaniel. Now let's address Nathaniel's comment about gay Asian men. I mean, this point is kind of coming out of nowhere, and of course it's not backed with any concrete examples, but this is important to address because the frustration that Asian men currently have when it comes to dating Asian women can further prove that Asian women want white men. The 1997 study that I previously mentioned said that Asian men dated women from other Asian groups. There have been several examples in the past couple of years where Asian women have shitted on Asian men while openly admitting that they have a preference for white men. Take a look at this clip with Marie Takahashi, a Japanese woman who is in a relationship with a white man, as she explains why she doesn't want to date Japanese men.
Okay, this is weird, but do you guys ever feel like, I don't know if this is racist, but I've never wanted to date another Japanese guy because it reminds me too much of like my own family. I mean, biologically it doesn't make sense. Like, I look like this, my partner looks like this, I want my offspring to look different from me, right? Like I want like things that I don't have, perhaps like height for my offspring. And like that's really, if you break it down, like that's how it works out. You know, biologically we think of like what we want for our children. That's what I like about my guy. I'm like, I want your height because I am a troll. I'm a troll-sized woman. And I want my children to be tall.
Now look at this clip published in 2014 from the Australian TV show Insight, where Asian women talk about their preferences for white men while once again shitting on Asian men.
I prefer to date Caucasian men. At first, I didn't expect to date Caucasian men as well. I always think, oh, I'm going to go out with Asian men for the rest of my life.
Why?
And then,
why did you think that?
Because I thought they look so different than me, and I don't understand how their mindset works. And then I started to work at this global bank, and there's a lot of people from the UK. And then at that time, I just broke up with my ex-partner. And then it's time for a change, and I got a lot of attention from them.
My preference is for Caucasian, white Australian male. And I'm from a migrant background, so I immigrated quite young. You're told very quickly you've got to, you've got to work twice as hard. You've got to be, twice as good. There's this West is best mentality. And even just the physical value of beauty, even though they don't, my parents would never say, oh, being white is beautiful. It'd be things like, get out of the sun, you're getting darker. And, and that sort of mentality, that actually is more of a classist thing, because for a lot of Asian people, being dark-skinned is actually associated with working labour class.
So that affects who you're attracted to?
Yes,
yeah?
Because in my youth, I would have interpreted that as, get out of the sun, you're getting darker, darker is ugly, look at all my white friends, they're not dark, they're white.
Mm. Were you specifically looking for a Western husband?
Yes, I'm attracted to Caucasian also.
And what are you attracted to about Caucasian men?
I could see it in my two brother-in-law, and they are responsible.
In what way?
They look after my my sisters. They are a good husband, better than a Filipino, I think.
Whoa, okay. Okay, is there a Filipino man in the audience here somewhere, please?
Sorry to hear that.
But I want to explore this a little bit more, though. What do you mean they look after you better? In what way?
I just found them they are responsible.
There's a huge difference in how Caucasian men treat women. So, just for example, when my English ex cooked me dinner, he would cook me dinner from the start to finish, and even help cleaning the dishes, and even pamper me and do everything for me. But my Indonesian ex would just expect me to cook dinner and then let me do the dishes, and then he'll just play games on the internet. So that's the idea of having romantic dinner.
Okay, well, I think we're going to be very careful not to stereotype here. We're talking about people's individual experiences.
Asian women are friendly, they're more approachable, they're gentle, then they're attracted to their mentality, attitude, outlook on life, and they are appealing to be more family-oriented in a lot of ways.
And so that's what the men are looking for. What are the women looking for?
Women, blue eyes, long hair, strong, tall body. So there's a lot of Asian women physically attracted to the Caucasian man.
And your husband is sitting right there beside you.
Typical example. That's why I fall in love with him. I said, you're so lucky you have a full set of beautiful hair. That's what I fall in love with.
It's not that Asian men are gay or don't want to date Asian women. Asian men definitely want to date Asian women. But Asian women are leaving them for white men. And even though there are still plenty of Asian women who want to be with Asian men, there's enough of this going on where Asian men are starting to complain about it. And where do you think that leaves Hispanic and black men, Nathaniel?
Have you slept with lifetime?
I wouldn't want to sleep with that many people in my life, but
let's just say, have you encountered your share of meeting Oriental women without a problem?
Without a problem? No, but I've had encounters, certainly. I've had
basically, in a nutshell, I'm just asking you, with all due respect, with men here, do you get enough action from the Asian woman that you're attracted to?
Absolutely not. Okay. No.
That's why I asked that, because to confirm what I already feel, you confirm that, because I can tell from your statistics that you're laying out that that's exactly what you're coming to that. First and foremost, you have to realize is that when hip-hop even was introduced, it was considered to be a trend. It was a phase. It was a fad. Then it became a culture. Now it's a lifestyle. Who would ever think that people were going to be selling music to put out mixtapes with using other samples without being cleared and making pretty much $100,000 a day just off of a mixtape? Who would ever think that we would live in a world where you have video cameras that are showing you amateur porn or amateur whatever's going on in your life, where you could load onto just about any social network? So now all the things that applied that meant something 20, 30, 40 years ago, we're living in a whole complete different world right now. People are dating on Tinder, for Christ's sake. They're swiping things, so now everybody's thinking to be curious. Nobody cares about your education.
Note the porn reference.
Yes, they do. Yeah, it's because I've been on those online. It's because I've been on those sites that I know that that's the case.
Let me explain something to you, brother. You never forget this. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Money talks, bullshit walks. You can be in a position to be going to the best school possible with all the greatest degrees, and I could be selling cars in 2016 and making $1 million. You could be making $200,000. They're not going to even give you the time of day, because at the end of the day, I have the money. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So years ago, you couldn't tell nobody you was a police officer. They weren't making money or a mode of sanitation. Sanitation workers making $200,000. So for somebody to go to school, what's the point? Unless you're going to school to be a lawyer, doctor, something that profession. Look at my cousin. My cousin lives in Texas. This dude is making like $700,000 to $1 million a year with him being a doctor in medicine, with him having these businesses where they have these urgent care centers that he's part of, and the urgency care things. He's able to flip money, but the problem is he doesn't know how to get a woman. He has all that. He has the cars. He has the homes. He's making a shitload of money. He's getting $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 checks per month just from his job. But the problem is that he has one problem. That's why he has to go to Costa Rica, Thailand, Dominican Republic, Brazil to resort to prostitution. Because something as simple as that, he can't even meet a woman. It's not
simple. That's what I'm trying to say. This is what our society has warped us to believe as men, is that it's all of our job to figure out how to. What does that sound?
No, that's YouTube.
Oh, okay. This is how our society has warped us as men to think that like women are supposed to be these creatures that we have to obtain, and if we don't obtain them, whether it might be batshit crazy, which a lot of them are, if we don't obtain them, then it's our fault and it's our duty to do that. And if we don't achieve it, then we're a failure. That all these other things that we've accomplished in life that make us great as human beings, not just as men, but as human beings, make us a failure. Where is the responsibility on the woman to get off their ass and start pursuing men on their own regard? It is not our job in this day and age. Like you said, this is all 20, 30 years ago. 20, 30 years ago, you could have made an argument that we still had to approach women. It is not our job in any sense of the means. I don't care if this has been happening up until 20, 30 years ago, but it is not our job to go out there and pursue them. And if we fail or whatever, and we're intelligent and we're smart and we know that we can provide, whatever, there is no shame in saying, I can't deal with this nonsense. I'm going to go somewhere else, because for all you know, all these girls that rejected you might have been a good thing. You might have money in your pocket that you might not have had by dating this girl who might just clearly take your money, marry you, have kids with you, never was in love with you, and then take your half your money because the courts have no problem siding with a woman when it comes to divorce proceedings. That's the society we live in today. So I have no problem with a man saying, I can't get women, I'm just gonna get sex somewhere else, because it's gotten that bad. It's not, well, as long as you try, you know, you can get it. That can happen, but we need to respect the fact that women think that we're supposed to be these Prince Charmings that, regardless of race, Prince Charmings that are supposed to figure them out before they even know who the hell they are. And if we don't, then we're the ones that are at fault. No, yeah, that's not how it goes.
You gotta remember, you only have you have a king and you have a queen.
Hold on. You got cut. I got cut off.
Yeah, you got me now?
Yeah.
Oh, you have a king and you have a queen, right?
Yeah.
If you mentioned about the whole thing with if you have two lesbian women, who's going to do the approaching? Well, at the end of the day, somebody got to be the man. And the man's state of it that has not changed is, if a man could go out there and fight a war, he should be able to go out there with himself, go meet a woman, and not worried about being rejected. Because he's going to get rejected regardless. It's going to happen. But if you put your big boy pants on and you put your boots on and deal with it, it's a beautiful thing. Because me personally, I don't see the reason why men have to go to another country. It makes no sense.
Well, that's a whole different animal.
I feel that what men need to do now is an insecurity issue. That's it. It's an insecurity issue if you as a man cannot approach a woman and deal with the fact of being turned down. It's an issue. Because I'm going to tell you something. No matter how much money you have, if you don't have your security to back that up, you're going to get played. You'll get used whether you're poor or rich. So that's what I'm saying. So now what applies in this internet world right now is we're beyond free. We may not be as united as we should be. Unfortunately, we're dealing with all those problems right now in the world. But we are free. Everything is here. You see the statistics. I don't care what the situation is. A woman can't look at me. I'm a commodity. A woman could lose a man. A woman cheats on a man and loses him. She may never have a chance of getting a good man ever in her life. But a man could cheat on a woman, lose a good woman, and go get another one just as easy as that. It's all here. So the thing is that you have all these men that feel like, well, we have this. I'm a great guy. I have this going on. And women should start approaching us. No, they should not start approaching us. Only time a woman approaches me is in a strip club. That's it. That's the only time a woman approaches me. The only time a woman approaches me when I'm in another country and she's trying to sell some ass and says, listen, do you want to date? I don't get approached on a regular basis. In this United States, you're getting approached when you're a celebrity status. You're not going to even get approached if you're rich, because how does she know that? They have to know your status. In this society, it's about status. So even if you're going to spend $500,000, $1 million to go to school, just realize that that status is what's going to carry you on to understand that when you meet somebody, she's not with you because you're smart. She's with you because you're making $1 million, $2 million a month.
That's what half of them are there for anyways.
Right. Or, because this is what I always tell guys. You have to have one of three things, preferably two. Either your game got to be tight, your money, and looks. Looks is the least of the worries, because at the end of the day, you could be a woman could be a sugar mama to a guy that got good looks. Let's just say, but yet you have your game together. You have your game tight. You have your money tight. That's what's going to matter. Because at the end of the day, if you're broke and your game is correct, there's enough women out here that'll put you through school. It's just it's here. I live in Staten Island, New York. The majority of the black population is only 14% in the United States. Out here in Staten Island, it's like 4%. But the majority of the people that live out here are of Asian, I'm going to say it in order, Italian, Jewish, and of Asian descent.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have the Italian woman with these beautiful asses and big butts and gorgeous faces. I'm in the gym with them. They're listening to...
My camera cuts off here, so this is a good time to tell you guys a story. I mentioned this in a previous episode, but I'll say it again. I was on a dating site called Coffee Meets Bagel between 2014 and 2015. I listed the fact that I had graduated from college and received matches daily for 4 months on the site. I specifically asked for Asian women to be sent to me as matches. Not a single Asian woman that I approved of as a match approved me. It was only when I changed my education to Harvard that I started receiving matches, which included matches from Asian women who went to the college that I previously listed. Asian women care about education and status, especially when it comes to black and Hispanic men. But I could have told this to Nathaniel and he wouldn't have listened. As he did in this video, he takes what I say and he finds a way to bring it back into his worldview.
Rap music. So you got to think about the mode of where they're at. Do it again. So the whole thing is, what you have to realize is that what's presented, what's really going on, if people don't understand and get with it, they're going to be left in the sauce. Because now it's going to be like most of the good guys I know. I know nothing but good guys that go to good schools, go to church, honest, make an honest dollar, just all around good men. And they are suffering because now the thing is, they feel that, wow, that status should have mattered because they're good men. And I'm like, no, it's not going to matter. It's the mode of you not realizing that now we're at a point in our lives where things have changed now. And unfortunately, what may not be of substance matters. It matters now, right now, when the girl sees, like, you're the type of guy where a sister would love for a guy like you to think. Nice guy, he's in college, he's doing his thing, he speaks eloquently. Yeah, all that is great, but at the end of the day, that same guy will go out there, fall in love in another country with a woman that is only trying to get to the United States. But he actually realizes, like, she's in love with me. I said, no, she doesn't love you. Because if you had looked at the fact of you being in a state of mind of living in the United States, that money talks, bullshit walks. But if you're not going to be able, they're saying bullshit, because now the bullshit has to be able to come out your mouth. You have to be able to know at one point in your life that, what is my hook? What are people attracted to me for? What is it that women like about me? Is it your personality? Is it your way that you add up and subtract? You have to know your hook. And once you realize your hook, then you know exactly when you get that hook and throw it into the water, what's going to come back. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have a hook, you have nothing.
This is where one of the videos on Nathaniel's channel comes in.
You got to think of the mode of
this is strategy. And the strategy is like watching wildlife. When you watch wildlife, you see you see the animal go for its prey. You see that tiger or that lion going for its prey. They're not going to sit there and wait for the food to come to them. They got to go get it. No matter what happens in this world, they got to go get it. And as a man, you should be able to know how to get a woman. How to put yourself in a position, and a lot of men, unfortunately, and it's not their fault, a lot of men weren't raised to that degree. Thank God I have a dad and a mother, but I have a dad that taught me the game. I know this. Like, there's nobody could ever challenge me.
Nathaniel's video transitions to another part of the collaboration, so you're just going to see my face for a while. Also, keep in mind that the guy who doesn't know how to edit was able to create a transition in his video to go to another one of his talking points.
The richest person in the world. Donald Trump said at one time, hey, I know how to make millions of dollars, but ask me how to get a girl and keep love going. That's a whole complete different level. Because that's something he didn't know, but he could tell you how to make billions of dollars and show you it for that matter.
And then lose that in the same day. Yeah.
Right. And that's what the reality is. So the whole point of the matter is we're at a zone now where no matter what goes on, we have to see what it's for. The bottom line is that we are living in times now that if we have to strategically get things together, it's like YouTube, you know how it is. It's like putting your YouTube page together and saying, listen, how do I make these views? It's a strategy. You got 8-year-old kids out here that's getting 10 million views on their videos. How in the hell did you do that? But he's winning. Now, then you got guys that have been on YouTube for 10 years and barely made $500 in 1 month. So now it becomes a thing of, how do we get this strategy thing going? I think there's just a mode of knowing that more men, we need more tutorials of men such as my caliber that are showing men that I don't know what you guys are doing, but you're doing it wrong. You're getting on a plane for 15, 24 hours for what? Like, it's not going to work. She's not going to be loyal to you. She's going to cheat on you, and she doesn't care about you. Period.
It's
all about her getting here to the American side of the world where we are taught that you are valued here by your dollar. However, let's just say you're not rich. Let's just say you're not that bright. But now
from you. When Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon went through this thing, what is he losing? His kid's mother is a millionaire. And her new husband is a billionaire. What are they going to do, take him to court? What are they going to take him to court for? If anything, they got to pay him alimony and be able to raise the kids. He doesn't have enough money to necessarily have the kids in his possession, you know, but at the end of the day, they're rich. And that's the name of the game. This, unfortunately, and it's sad because the values you're talking about, I get it. You're right. Right? Like, who's to say a woman shouldn't do that? I get it. But at the end of the day, what are they going to do? They're losing right now. Well, more men are getting married than more men and women. Especially in the black community, it's worse. So now you have the situations in the rural, you know, areas such as urban communities where a black man may feel like, hey, him and that Asian girl can't make no beautiful kids. You mix black with Asian, Hispanic with Asian, white with Asian. See how beautiful the children come out. That's a fact. So off the top, what am I bringing to the table? Hey, I'm bringing my black dominant gene. You know, we could change the whole anatomy of your whole family structure just by me having a baby with you. That's strong enough. I don't care whether I'm educated or not. At the end of the day, I'm giving you me. We're mixing this up. We're mixing this dominant gene in with your dominant gene to mix up and know that, wow, now you have kids. When the car is built for Japanese, they're not built for a tall Japanese. Not everybody looks like that tall basketball player. What's the name? Yao Ming. No, not everybody looks like him. But now we have kids like 6'5", you know, half Chinese and black kids, because now we mix that gene up to make. Wow, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make this stronger. We're gonna make it even better. We're gonna put your brains with my brains, your eyes with my eyes, your skin with my skin. That's what the people realize. So you have more to bring than you can imagine. The thing is, we are conditioned not to believe that, because we're conditioned. Oh, she wants the Asian guy. Don't believe. I mean, she wants the Asian guy. Oh, she wants the. Yeah, traditionally she was, but traditions are out the window when you're in America.
That is not true at all. It's not true. It's not true. It's just as bad as it was 20 or 30 years ago. It's just as bad. It's just as bad. It's just the racism that we see is only been it's subliminal. You just don't, it's not like anybody's gonna say on camera, you get an Asian girl saying, oh, I date a black guy. Okay, let's look at your dating history. All you've dated is Asian and white guys, so don't talk. Like, you don't have a right to talk over here. When Donald Trump has the ability to have the Republican nomination in this day and age, that should tell you just how much racism still exists in this country. When we've got all these people, you know, when you have, what was it, the Dallas shooting where that black guy just said, I just want to kill white cops because he's sick and tired of these cops being disrespectful to the black community, to the point where they still see us, because I'm half black, still see us as slaves. And you might be thinking, okay, well, how does this have to do with Asians? Well, you know, the Asians see all this crap and they say, what? I can't hear you.
It's not that they see us as slaves, because first and foremost, any real racist that lives in America for the last 8 years and knew that Obama's president is still here, they're full of shit. You're not no real racist. You're just a disturbed individual that don't know what the fuck you want. Because at the end of the day, a real racist would have moved out this country when a black man became president. So that's a bunch of crap. Secondly, with the whole situation with everybody talking about, oh, yeah, you know, these cops are treating us like slaves. No, they're scared. No, the average cop is not going to fight me. They're not going to fight me the minute I step out the car. They're going to try to shoot me because they don't want no big 300-pound, 6'5", waving and knocking their asses out. They're scared to death. The problem is you got a whole bunch of pussies that was picked on in high school, middle school. They said, you know what, I'm going to come and be a cop. I'm going to be a tough guy because I'm carrying a gun. I'm not a tough guy, but I damn sure don't have to be carrying no gun to prove that. I don't carry a weapon. I carry a knife for work or whatever, but I don't have to carry a gun to feel superior. The bottom line is they're dealing with real wars. These cops don't want to walk into none of these urban neighborhoods without their damn gun or their badge. They don't even want to walk in there without their badge because they know that gun don't mean shit, because the majority of the dudes in the hood got bigger guns than them. So they don't want to deal with that. They're just scared. I'm
I'm not tired of that. I'm tired of the fact that people blaming the police to be like, oh, these dudes is racist, or they doing whatever. Listen, you ain't really that racist. No KKKs running up and down Mother Gaston projects. They're not going to do that.
You don't need to wear the KKK outfit to have a KKK mindset. You don't need that. And Asians see all this, and they see how blacks and Latinos are basically ghettoized in this country. They've got more. They've been more successful, and they say, you know what, nice guy, I'm going to pass. If we continue to perpetuate this idea that everything is hunky-dory and that everybody who is not addressing race issues or dating issues or class issues or everybody who is addressing those things is an idiot, then we're never going to get to the root of why things are the way that they are. If we just say, hey, the man still needs to approach a woman, and if we don't and we go to another country or we just give up, then we're a pussy, then we're never going to get anywhere. Women are just going to get more and more power with no responsibility. We're going to have more Asian women saying, don't approach me because I'm Asian, you're disgusting, you have yellow fever, with no accountability to the asinine statements that are behind, the asinine reasoning behind those statements. We can, if we don't address stupidity at its core, racist ideology at its core, and continue, especially with Asians and how they look at the dating world and how they're basically the ones in power but don't want to fucking admit it. If we don't address that, we're never going to get to the heart of the issue.
Right, but you know what? You said address it is one thing. It's being addressed, but what is the solution? What is the resolution? No resolution. The bottom line is, no matter what goes on in this country, people don't realize, number one, we're in debt to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay? Americans, as you know, we live above our means. That's just what it is. We'll get a Suburban and have no children.
Yeah.
That's just how we are. We'll get a 50-room house with 2 kids and there's homeless people still on the street.
Yeah.
These are all facts of America.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, what is the resolution? People are not downsizing. People are still buying expensive cars. People are still buying expensive jewelry. People are still buying all the materialistic things that mean nothing, where the Asians in China are benefiting from that. So at the end of the day, we have to look at this as United States and say, why are we called united when somebody's saying, I hate niggers, but yet I have a black president and I like having sex with black strippers? Like, get your mind together. Like, or the guy that says he's not gay, but he has gay sex. It's like, no, brother, you're gay, period. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you get an erection from looking at a naked man, you're gay, period. In the discussion. Doesn't mean the fact that, well, I haven't touched one. People are making their own rules. People's beliefs are becoming laws. People want to compare being gay to a race. No, it's just sexual preference. Not, my gender is male. My race is black. My sexual preference.
Nathaniel's Skype cuts off here, so I'll pause the video. I'm going to focus on Nathaniel's point about what makes a person racist in America. Is Nathaniel really trying to say that a person can't be racist unless they were willing to leave when Obama was elected? Tell that to William Daniel Johnson, a white supremacist who pushed the Pace Amendment back in the 1980s, which looked to get rid of all non-white people from the United States. He stands behind that amendment and would gladly push for it now. Is he not a racist? Ken Daly, the guy on the left, has no problem with stop and frisk even though it targeted blacks and Hispanics and was wildly unsuccessful. Is he not a racist? So a racist can only be someone who is willing to leave a country or die for his or her beliefs? I guess this white guy who called his wife a slant-eyed import isn't racist because his wife is Asian. Nathaniel, what the fuck are you talking about?
You lost me for a minute?
Yep.
Yes. But the thing is, what it is that the solution has to be, people have to stand up. If people are going to say, oh, the gas prices are going up, then everybody says, listen, we're not going to buy gas for a whole month. Everybody's just going to walk, fuck everybody, and turn the whole society upside down. People, the question is, how far are you willing to go? I live in a racist borough, but at the end of the day, I walk into a gym, I don't care how racist a dude is to me, he ain't not going to say shit to my face.
You're not a real racist unless you're willing to leave the country when a black man becomes president of the United States. But you live in Staten Island, a borough within the United States, which, according to you, is racist. Got it.
He's not going to do it. If you're really racist, come with it. Yo, man, don't bring your black ass here. How they was doing it in the 1940s and 50s. You're not allowed in here.
come and tell me that. But they're not going to do that because they know that they don't want to suffer the consequences. Because the consequences may be unhealthy for that person. Nobody wants. So how far are you willing to go? At least with these people that unfortunately flew the damn planes into the World Trade Center, they went far. They were willing to say, listen, we're taking our whole lives for what we believe in. You can't play with a person like that because they're serious. But people are not serious. All this Donald Trump stuff and Hillary, the politics is a big joke. Because number one, politicians hold.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I went off. Politicians hold no weight to celebrities. We're living in a celebrity-driven world. People, you ask the average person, if they name a black woman, name one woman that you think of that first comes to mind with a big butt and a beautiful face. Kim Kardashian. And her ass is fake. The new regime of this world is fake.
Yeah.
People love fake nonsense. Now, there's nothing real no more. These people talk about all the protests. They don't do anything. I'm like, really? But then they killed 5 cops. That did something because there's two black men that were killed and 5 cops that were killed. But that was something. I guess we should have tore up our. Oh, you said when we were tearing up our communities, we were stupid and low level. We didn't think. See, people have a misconception of what poor and poverty is. If you were born in the United States of America and lived here all your life, I don't want to hear about what you know about poor. You don't know what poor is. You don't know what poor is. You don't know what poor is. I had a friend of mine that just came out of a country that had a civil war for 30 years. With missiles been flying over his head since he was a kid. He's lived here. Now his parents are here for the first time for the next 2 weeks because he's married an American woman. I had to give it. I said, this dude knows what real shit is. We don't know what war is. We don't know what war is. We're spoiled brats here, and we think projects as opposed to a homeowner, somebody's in poverty. No, the person in the project has less to worry about when the damn person in the damn that's working in the financial headquarters that has his mortgage for $20,000 a month better hope that the market doesn't crash because he's going to damn jump off the terrace. He's going to jump off a balcony and kill himself. That's where we're living in. But people say, oh, well, high crime is here. No, it was Orlando in that gay club was in a high crime area. How did 100 people get shot by one man? This is what the lies they tell you. So it's all lies. Americans are mixed up. The fact that we thought it was a joke when we had the Terminator become the governor of California, but now we have Donald Trump running for president. Donald Trump is a pimp. Let me tell you what I like about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a con artist. People are so stupid they actually believe that this man is racist. No, he has to identify with a group because he knows that 80% of this world, the United States, is foolish and thinks stupidly. So he's trying to grab that vote. He knows at the end of the day, his homeboys is all black brothers, and whether it's Michael Jordan or Al Sharpton, those are his friends. Donald Trump ain't even a racist. Donald Trump is an entertainer slash pimp slash con artist. He's conning the people to believe that. He's not like a rapper. People think Jay-Z's a rapper. Jay-Z's not a rapper. Jay-Z is a businessman that hides behind the fact that he's a rapper to fool your ass. Beyonce is not a singer. She's a businesswoman. She's a businesswoman to believe and let people believe she's part of Illuminati, she's part of a secret society, and that's why she's at the top of her game, and there's no female entertainer in the world that's above her. So that's why it's all a scam. America is derived by image. Everything here is image. Right now, if you go sit up in a Porsche, make your hair blonde, and I walk around you and act like you're my bodyguard, everybody will go crazy. They're like, wow, who is he? He must be somebody. But then you go to Dominican Republic, meet a girl barefooted, never seen you in her life, and wants to give you 3 of her children. It's the American mind. This is where we're at. So I just feel now that nothing is authentic. And that's why I say, what traditions work? People don't even know what 4th of July is. They don't know what 4th of July is. They don't know what Independence Day. Independence Day is a movie. Popping fireworks. What is the meaning behind fire? It's a celebration for what? Birthday of America. They don't even know when we have our declaration. When did we have our independence? Most people don't know nothing about what 1776 means. So I just feel that now people
don't know any better. And the reason is to get in on New York and get in on the United States, you have to be able to sell yourself with a product that everybody follows. Because most people are foolish. We do not have real racists. We do not have people that really hate gay people. Go down to these other countries where you marry a man and see what they do. They'll cut your dick off and cut your head off. They won't do that here. The laws protect that. So at the end of the day, nothing is authentic.
The last video that I showed you from Nathaniel's end consists of 3 segments from our collaboration. This is where the 3rd segment comes in.
Meeting a woman and having a dinner is no longer authentic anymore, because if you have to look through your cell phone and look at a porn to dream of a girl, and if that's not going to give you a push to meet somebody, unfortunately you should never watch porn again. And that's the problem. Like, porn is presented to men to more or less to like desensitize them, man. It's like to the point of like, what's the purpose of seeing all of these things that should push you to work harder, and then you're gonna see what all these women are doing behind closed doors to not approach them in the street? I just don't get that. I'm lost.
I lost you towards the end. Your connection kind of got messed up. Can you just repeat that?
Guess who decided to make another porn reference? Anywho, Nathaniel's video cuts off here. Are you enjoying the word salad? Because there's more to come.
Like I said, I just feel that nothing is authentic anymore. In order for people to feel the pain of a black man dying by a police officer, it's not going to be by protesting and the message of let's bring each other together. It's going to be to kill another officer. That's when he's going to realize, oh, this shit is real. We have to stop. Why would he have to stop when he was laying down before? Why would he have to stop when he got shot in his chest? Oh, because it's on video. Oh, what? You're actually still not believing? Oh, he still didn't have to do that. Do what? Oh, now he has a record. Okay. So how about the cop that goes on to Thailand and has sex with 10-year-old girls and having orgies with them? But you don't see that because he's in another country. I know personally dudes that have done this. So what happens to him? He comes back, you know what? You don't see that because you don't see it. But now the reality is that, oh, he's a great guy. He fought for his country. Yeah, he fought for his country, but he forgot when he signed up that he's part of a gang. Whether it's the Blood, the Crips, police department, you are a target. He forgot that somebody didn't tell him, be careful. That's a dangerous job. No, they told him, wow, my uncle's a cop. I don't have to worry about getting the ticket anymore. No, that shit is dangerous. So I just feel that the world, this society is no longer authentic. Until we can get the fact that we can have Donald Trump, the Terminator, and Kim Kardashian, these non-talented idiots that are nothing but celebrities with multi-million followers on Instagram, they won't realize what authenticity is. We'll say, oh, well, what you call this has been the worst president. Who? Oh, well, Obama's been the worst president. Why? Why? Oh, unless they're not telling me nothing about Obama dying, Obama not doing anything for civil rights, then we can't say anything. People just don't know. I have idiot friends of mine that wouldn't purchase houses, and all of a sudden they feel, yeah, I'm a Republican. So do you know what a Republican is, you idiot? You want to know? Do you know who Donald Trump is, you idiot? Do you know right now that God forbid something happens to your mother, your grandparent, and they take away all of that support for her in the future, that you're screwed, and God forbid her damn medication costs $1 million a year? They don't know what they're doing. Americans follow trends. That's all they believe. They believe the ghetto's the ghetto and the rich area is the rich area. But you ever notice in these floods and these world disasters, why is it that the lowest income areas always survive? Why is that? Why is when New York got hit with a storm, Coney Island went underwater on the one floor, but South Beach and Staten Island, Breezy Point, and all these areas were wiped out? Why? Because God sees on a spiritual level that people have not put him on a pedestal anymore. They put man on a pedestal, and that's a backfire. That's why they don't realize when there's a thunderstorm and that damn lightning comes hit, we're like, oh, there is a power. Yes, there is a power. What do you think? Somebody has to fly planes into something to cause an explosion? There's nothing worse than a world disaster. No man could make a world disaster as much as God can. He is the position to do anything to this world and destroy it, whether it's water, fire, ice, whatever.
not saying that women should only approach men all the time. I'm saying it should be a balance. I'm saying if somebody is interested in somebody else, regardless of gender, regardless of race, you should approach them. It's not saying, oh, now women all the time should approach men. No, it's saying get off your damn ass because you know that you like this guy, and sending subliminal signals that he's supposed to just pick up on because, you know, if he doesn't, he's not a man, is an archaic way of thinking, and is just a way for a woman to continue to think that everything that they do is right and everything that a man does is wrong. That shit is old. A lot of men are getting sick and tired of that. And just to wrap up this whole thing about the Asian stuff, you actually said earlier on, how do you address the situation of the racism and stuff like that? And I'll tell you, every time you've got some YouTuber who's got 1 million subscribers, an Asian female saying, hey, don't approach me because I'm Asian, approach me because of my personality or whatever, and they've got a million fucking followers saying, hey, you're right, blah, blah, blah. You call them out on their shit, and you say the only reason people are listening to you is because you have a bigger voice. Just because I don't have 1 million subscribers, just because, you know, I don't have 1 million followers doesn't make what I'm saying any less true. You're full of shit. You're probably only dating Asian or white guys to begin with. You have some ridiculous standard as to what you think a man should be that has been perpetuated to you since you were a kid because of movies like Disney telling you Prince Charming is going to sweep you off your feet. And until you get that crap out of your fucking mind, we're not going to pursue you. And we need to call out on these Asian people who are going out here getting interviewed on these things and saying, hey, I'll date an Asian guy, I'll date a black guy or a Hispanic guy anytime. And I've never even been into a black or Hispanic neighborhood, let alone dating anybody that wasn't white or Asian. That's how you address the issue. You call it out, you show it, and you expose these Asian women for their hypocritical, racist bullshit. That's how you do it.
It took Nathaniel's reference to God to get me to finally speak up and get this conversation back on track. In any case, the next clip is where another one of Nathaniel's videos comes in. It's not the video that's chopped up with different segments, but that video will also come into play shortly.
Well, let me ask you this. Like you said, to wrap up the Asian thing. I feel that the only way, but I believe that, you know, on one authentic level, I really believe the only way that you are going to achieve anything out here, other than following trends, is creating. And I think there has to be a point of creating. And I believe, I mean, I really believe that we should have these Q&As answered and asked with some Asians, with some Asian women. There has to be 1 or 2, 3 women that will stop and have this conversation. I know they will. It may take 5 minutes, it may take 3 minutes, it may take 3 hours, but they will. They're there. You know, you got to remember, if not one doesn't respond, another one will. That is a fact. It's beyond putting my life on that. And addressing this as, hey, this is an issue, because in our fantasy world, we're seeing one thing, but in the real world, you guys don't want to stop and talk to us. Why? We need to know that. Is it the aggressiveness? Is it that you can watch BET and the girls can masturbate to Lil Wayne or Future and say they want him, but when you see her in the street, she's calming, she's in school, she's doing what she does. I'm the guy that's about closed doors. The fact that, and I use the gay community as this, the fact that you can bring your closed doors to become a movement / laws / race / freedom / choice, we should be able to address things in the back doors too.
The video that comprises the 3 segments comes into play here. Why did Nathaniel upload one segment of our collaboration twice? Your guess is as good as mine.
There is a big demand for men of color with all races. They all want us. Trust me. I don't care how ghetto you are. I don't care how smart you are. They want us. And these Asian women love that. The thing is, you're not going to walk through Chinatown and get approached. Remember when Mike Tyson was a big time boxer? Where is he most famous at? In China. They loved him out there. Where did Stephon Marbury go to play ball? China. They love us. Kimbo Slice, when he was out there, God bless his soul. They love us. So if that is coming from them traditionally, from the grain, it's here. There's a lot of / half and half traditional Asian people that are actually here in the U.S. that know this, what I'm talking about. They know who Mike Tyson is. They know who Michael Jackson is. They know how to dance. They know our culture. They love our culture. And I think the thing is, if we feel that in our minds that, wow, in the back end they show us this, what can we do? What can we do? We can get on the streets of New York City and address this to the Asian community, to the females. We'll stop women from the age of 18 on up. And trust me, to be a movement. Nobody's doing that. There's no YouTubers doing that out there. I know that for a fact. There's no one. Unless they got 5 Asian females that they happen to know, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, we're going to put them on the side of the street. No, we can address this. And I feel that now that people have to be able to know that we are living in a society now that is a lot more open than you think. We just have to embrace it. It's there. We don't have to get on a plane. I tell dudes all the time, I know one loser now that talks about he's going to DR. I'm like, the fact that you're there, I know shit is bad. Because why couldn't you go to Kearney, New Jersey? Why couldn't you go to Washington Heights or the Bronx and meet you a beautiful Dominican woman that lives right here, but you have to get on a plane, go by yourself, because you have to subject yourself to prostitution. Why? Because if he gets a prostitute here in New York, it's going to cost him $500. Out there, it's going to cost them $50. Go figure. They're not going out there just meeting the girls without no money. That's prostitution. You're in a third world country. You're not running to Africa and doing that. You're doing it there.
My camera cuts off here, so I'm going to pause. Notice, we're roughly 60 minutes into this collaboration, almost 90 if you're counting my edits, and I think that this is the first time that Nathaniel has used actual examples to prove his point instead of talking out of his ass. So let's address them. Nathaniel gives 3 examples of black athletes who have been praised in China. He talks about Stephon Marbury, and to an extent he's right about Stephon. After having a lackluster career in the NBA, he won a championship with a Chinese basketball team, and he's found a new life over there. Mike Tyson has fans in China as well, and although I couldn't find any examples of Kimbo Slice being praised in China, I'm sure that there are some examples. However, Nathaniel is missing a crucial point in his analysis. These are black athletes who have status. In Asian countries such as China, money and status gain you respect, and it can even get rid of some of the racism you may otherwise face as a black man. To prove my point, look at what some Chinese women decided to do on International Women's Day a couple of years ago. They decided to make a music video showing off how proud they were to be gold diggers, telling men that they didn't deserve them if they didn't have a house or a car. It's going to be easier to get an Asian woman's attention if you have money and status, but it's still much easier for white guys who don't necessarily have to have things like money and power, because their white skin represents that money and power. It represents their status. And since Nathaniel can't stop talking about porn, let's talk about porn stars. There are several examples of Asian women dating and marrying men who have light skin. Asa Akira is currently divorcing her husband, who is from Spain, but he clearly looks white. Mika Tan was married to a white man, and Nicole Oring, an Asian woman who has done both hardcore and softcore porn, is with a white guy. But this is the problem with Nathaniel. No matter how many examples you show him to prove your point, as long as there's an example that he can point to which feeds into his worldview, then he'll disregard everything that you say. I could show him 10 examples of Asian porn stars dating and marrying white men, and he would have countered with Lucy Tai, thinking that he destroyed my entire argument. It wouldn't have mattered if I talked to Nathaniel about Lu Jing, a half-Chinese, half-black woman who has faced extreme racism in China, with Chinese people in the country calling her father a black devil. He would have said that Lu Jing's existence proves that Asian women want black men because Lu Jing has a Chinese mother and a black father. It wouldn't have mattered if I explained to Nathaniel that China changed their poster of Star Wars: The Force Awakens by making John Boyega, the black actor, smaller than Harrison Ford, the white actor. He would have said that's not really racist because Chinese people weren't willing to punch John Boyega in the face. It wouldn't have mattered if I told Nathaniel that China recently compared black people to wild animals in a museum. He would have ignored that and went right back to his talking points about black men needing to approach Asian women. There was nothing that I could have said or done to get through his thick fucking skull that most Asians don't like black people and that the majority of Asian women date white and Asian men. He had an answer for every fucking thing. This wasn't a discussion. This was his attempt to lecture me and the audience on his beliefs, which anybody can prove within 2 minutes of research are incorrect.
Because you know you can't get it here. So let's break that, let's change that and go into these Hispanic communities, go into these Asian communities, go into Flushing, Queens. We could go to Flushing, Queens. I'll show you areas right there there's nothing but Asians. And we can sit there right in the corner with our cameras and a microphone and watch. And you'll see. I'll bring one of my Asian homegirls to prove it to you. Just for her being there. But once they see one everybody is standing around. They know that a black man of color are not approachable. Society is afraid of approaching us in all shapes or forms, whether it's through law enforcement or whether it's just walking down the street. You know, the average girl is not going to approach because she's going to be scared to even say hello. But even if I say hello and she doesn't say a thing, I'm cool with that. Because the next one will. And if she does it, the next one will. Somebody going to say something. You sit out there and go into Chinatown and ask somebody give me $1. Somebody's going to give you $1 sooner or later. Somebody's going to give you $1 sooner or later. So you telling me if you don't tap a girl and say, listen, I admire you, I see you across the street, could we go across the street and get a pastry? Somebody's going to say, sure, why not? I don't expect her to buy it for me.
I agree.
This is what it is. And I think more men of color need to know that what is the purpose of living in a melting pot and you're not enjoying the soup? There's no purpose of that. We're living in a melting pot. It's a stew here. Everything is mixed up in one. The more gays, the better it is for us. The more criminals in jail, the better it is for us. The more losers, the better it is for us. Don't matter. Hood, the ghetto dude, he gonna approach the girl because he feel he got nothing to lose. But the guy that went to Ivy League schools, he's scared to death. Let's change that. Let's change it. We got nothing to lose. It doesn't make me a difference if I get turned down from 50 women. It's not going to make me feel any different because the average man couldn't approach 50 women in one day, nevertheless a whole week or a year. Ask the average man how many women he approached in a year's time without going to a bar or a strip club. He may say maybe 2, maybe none. I have a friend now that we're living in 7 months of the year. He hasn't spoken to a woman in 7 months. He hasn't approached a woman in 7 months. That has to change. I have to push him. Hey, you're going to go out here, talk to this woman, bro. What do you have to lose? So what if she ignores you or runs? I don't care if she runs. We're on camera. What is it? She can't say we raped her. This is what I think me and you should do. You being a fellow New Yorker, you're a young man, you're a Hispanic man, you know what you like, and you're aware of the things that's going on. Let's address this to the problem. Let's go to the core and deal with this. To the core. That will be a great YouTube video for me and your channel.
That I agree with. That I agree with. I do have to go soon. That I agree with. I will say this, that it does need to be addressed. I'm actually leaving for Boston soon in like a couple of weeks because I got to study for my graduate program. I will say that, you know, approaching Asian women and calling them out on this is very important. But what I will also say is that I think that your objective is different from mine. Your objective is to say, hey, there's an issue, whatever, let's focus it on trying to bring it together. I'm saying, hey, there's an issue, let's focus on it and make the people that these Asian women have looked at as less look like the bad guys as once. You're trying to bring people together, I'm trying to expose them. So as long as we understand that we're coming from different angles,
I'm guessing that he cut off here because in the final part of the collaboration, which you're about to see, he mentions my name, which he doesn't want to do since he doesn't want to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm totally with that. Listen, Raphael, we can do that. I think that's an extraordinary idea, and I think we should do it as simple as, only thing we need to just wait on is whenever you're ready. We'll go out there on a Saturday. We could go out there whenever time that you have. We go out there, I'll set the thing right up on the street, the microphone, and watch. Let me tell you something I never forgot. My pastor told me this that passed on, died. He said, fear immobilizes you. So if I'm gonna have a fear about it, that means I'm gonna be immobilized and never address it. But damn it, let's do it. You have a different mode, I have a different mode, but hey, at the end of the day, it's still something that needs to be addressed.
Okay. So how would you want to go about it and when? Because I think I know somebody who has a camera that would be willing to join us as well. But we need to have an idea as to what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish out there.
Very simple. We're just taking a poll on people's views of these things that need to be addressed. Whether it's something you want to address, whether it's not something I have to address. I think we need to go up in something, whether it's Brooklyn Chinatown or Manhattan Chinatown, go directly in the Asian community and just do the best that we can.
Okay, that sounds fair.
We just say it's very simple. We'll set up there. We'll set up the camera. We'll get the tripod, and we have a handheld mic, and then we'll go back and forth. And you already, as a speaker, there's things that you speak on and you address it. Then there's one that I'll do. Whatever it is, you'll be entertained. I'll be entertained, and we'll have our information so we can use our facts to like listen. I'm in the streets. I'm telling you what goes on, rather than me reading somebody else's statistics. I think it's time for me and you to address the two things that we want to address, whether it's me putting it together or whether you putting them on blast. Whatever you want to do, we need to do it.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine with me. Let me just wrap this video up. Let me just say on my end that because if you do put this video up, just want to say it's a better idea to put it on as Angel Dodger. My channel is I'm Angel Dodger or Raphael, but my YouTube I go by Angel Dodger, and my channel is youtube.com/angelsdodger. That's with an SANGELSDODGER. Yeah.
Hold a second. You know, I was having some technical difficulties because I told you this camera was jumping and splitting the files up. So, I'll do the best that I can. But hold on one second. Here we go. Put on this. We should have been using this because I know I got room for everyone.
So I'm gonna end the recording. I'm gonna end the recording on my end right now. As you just heard, I told Nathaniel how to give me credit for my work. I gave him my YouTube name and I gave him my YouTube channel, and he didn't put that in any of the videos that he posted. Why didn't he do that? Because he didn't want to give me credit. He says that he has technical issues. Technical issues have nothing to do with the fact that you can just simply put in the description box my YouTube name. He didn't use the footage that I gave him via Dropbox because he didn't want to show my face. He didn't want my views to get more attention because he thought that he was automatically right by definition. This is not okay. So I'm asking you, if you like my work and you enjoyed this video, let Nathaniel and his fan base know that what he did to me is not okay, and that you can't step on somebody that you deem to be smaller on YouTube just because you disagree with them or you don't like the way that they express their opinions. Nathaniel is a snake. He's also an idiot, but he's a snake, and people need to know that. So again, I beg of you, if you like my work and you like what I put on my YouTube channel and what I have to say, and you don't appreciate what Nathaniel did to me, let Nathaniel and his fan base know that this video is out so he can be exposed as the piece of shit that he is.